Good evening, team. This is Sean Dozier from S Dozier International, giving you my end of the day report for Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021. Before I begin into my end of the day report, I'd like to clarify something from myself personally. I didn't abandon anything. I get lost in the shuffle sometimes due to the fact that we have hundreds and hundreds of messages that go out throughout this group in a timely manner throughout the day. Most of the days I'm at work. I work various hours on the AM shift, so I may get lost in a couple of messages that might go through. There seems to be a couple of misunderstandings, and I'd like to clarify some of these misunderstandings. I didn't abandon anything. I didn't. Sometimes, like I said, I get lost in the shuffle. Because, like I said, I'm working throughout the day, and it's very hard to try to catch up through messages throughout the day. Towards the end of the day, you get off in the middle part of the afternoon. There's no excuse. I'm not saying that everybody can't do it, because I can do it myself. But sometimes it be hundreds and hundreds of messages, a lot of information to decipher, and sometimes I don't get it all at the precise time that is needed. So I apologize for that, but I will also clarify that if no man or woman on this team speaks for me. If you didn't hear from Sean Dozier, it ain't Sean Dozier's information. It's what somebody think or assume. Please don't assume for me if you didn't hear it from my mouth. Thank you. Now, on to my end of the day report. I recently chatted up with Mr. Alfonso Cordobaum again and John Langley about information about getting my corresponding states of Pennsylvania and Missouri. I'm happy to say that I cracked the code on getting to those states. However, when it comes to information on the docket numbers to get in, I got locked out of both accounts. So I'm going to try again tomorrow. And I will have Mr. Alfonso Cordobaum's help in doing that. He said he would reach out and give me a hand if he has time. So I'm looking forward to that. If not, I'll still try myself to get through it. Now, also stated in the statement earlier, they waiting for a UCC lien agreement with my property 112 Edgecombe Avenue. Again, that's the information that went past my head. Like I said, I can't see everything all the time at work. But just to clarify, I will get that done and get that information over as soon as possible. Again, I'm gonna make sure that I get what I need to get done. I'm telling that to the team. I'm telling that to Dr. Michael Barton-El, everybody who's listening. It will get done. I promise you. So with that being said, that's my end of the day report. Again, any clarifications you need from Sean Dozier, please contact Sean Dozier. Don't hear it from nobody else's mouth. Hear it from me and me only. Thank you very much for your time. Y'all have a blessed night.
Hello team, John Langley here from Langley Enterprise, bringing you guys my end of the day report for Tuesday, March 2nd, 2022. I'd like to start by saying a big thanks to Dr. Michael Barton-El, a big thanks to Dawn, a big thanks to Liberty Management Team, and a big thanks to my teammate and partners. So as for my end of the day report, I spent the whole day pretty much skip traipsing over some new properties just to update my new list. I went over some of the properties that I had prior, and some of them was no longer workable properties. So now I'm bringing them up to par. So in front of me, I have 10 properties, as you can see right here, and these are all for New York State. So I'm going to send that over to Liberty Management Team tomorrow morning. I'm going to update myself with in terms of what's the next step to follow that up on. I have a list of 10 properties for Atlanta, 10 properties for Maryland. So I'm actually going to be working on 2 particular properties per state. That's what I'm going to do. And then after those 2 of each state is done, then I'm going to complete the rest of the properties out of each of my state, which is going to be a total of 30 properties that I'm personally going to take care of. and make it happen or get it done. That's going to be my goal. I've been behind on pretty much getting myself up to par, but nevertheless, I updated my list, so that will be on my spreadsheet tomorrow because I'm getting ready to go to bed shortly. So that'll be on my spreadsheet tomorrow. I will make sure of that, and I'll be making phone calls tomorrow. I'll be speaking to Brother Maurice and get back on track with the property him and I are working on. I'll speak to Brother Charles tomorrow. I'm going to make some phone calls to Liberty Management. I'll be calling Rosa. And then I'm also going to speak to the rest of the team. Today I spoke to Sean. I spoke to Alfonso. We worked on some things helping Sean out. And we worked on just where we need to be at as a team. So that was the day that I had. I spent most of the whole evening, afternoon just upgrading my list and skip tracing over some New York state properties. So that would basically be my end of the day report. I'm happy that I got that accomplished, and I will speak with you guys tomorrow. But as I always say, whatever you do, make sure that it is positive, and whatever that is, make sure it have you moving forward. So with that said, guys, that's the end of my day report, and I will speak with you guys tomorrow. Good night.
March 2, 2021. So once again, I am your VA Rosa. So for this day, I started it by checking any updates from the students. If they already sent their list, the list of their properties, in order to compile it in a spreadsheet as what Michael had instructed. So Miss J only had sent her list, and I included it already on the spreadsheet. And I've sent it on WhatsApp also for you, Michael, to check it. And maybe tomorrow, I'm looking forward for other students to send their list in order to complete the spreadsheet. And another thing, as usual, I've gathered and downloaded all the end of the reports for February 28 and also for March 1, 2021. And I compiled all of those and uploaded on the Get Money Group YouTube account. And also, I customized some of the templates on videos in creating logo animations that I'm gonna use on the videos that I'm gonna make every day. And another thing, we continued on marketing the properties, especially for the 166 Carroll Street. So it's a great thing that it's already been accepted on Acris. So congratulations to everyone, especially to Miss Dawn and Jay. So we knew it that it will really be accepted. So congratulations, guys. So we're here to push, help to find an interested buyer for it, to have a deal for this property. So maybe that's it for this day.
So hi everyone, again this is your VA May, and this is my end of the day report for today. And so far I did today, I already put a UCC lien for Mr. Jenkins' 3 properties located at 169 East 115th Street, 1 East 117th Street, and 310 East 84th Street in New York. And I already sent a copy to Mr. Jenkins' group in WhatsApp. And also I did modify the syndication of contracts. And I let Sir Justin proofread it, and I also sent a copy to the Self-Made Millionaires group chat. And I also tracked back all the invoices that was sent 3 months ago, and I will have to continue on that tomorrow, but because it's kind of hard to locate on that because I do not have all the files of it when Gray started it. And I also updated Michael about their opinion on the doc verify, and which Sir Justin disagreed with it, and I hope that Dr. Michael will give his opinion so that we can discuss more of it. and find a solution for that. And I think that's it for me today.
And as for me, this is your V for today. We continue advertising our property, especially on the 166 Carter Street. Now that it has been accepted on Actors, it's going to process it. So again, congratulations to you, especially John, Jay, and the rest of the team. We believe in you, and we're so proud of it. And we're here to everything to help. And we're now excited to have a closed deal for the said property. As you know, we have some interested buyers for the said property, as we have some, who's willing to buy it. And we're just waiting for their letter of intent and proof of funds to send us and to proceed with the deal. And also, I wanted to share to you that the buyer for the 16 West 129 Street property are still, ongoing to updating us to proceed to have a closed deal for that property. So we're waiting for the deed of the said property to be accepted on Actors. And we also created marketing advertisements for the property for sale and posted it online, and including to post it on different real estate groups, and sent emails to those who dropped their email accounts and asked details about the property, and message on people to market our properties to them and responded to their queries. And I also worked on checking any notifications to all of our social media accounts, joining any real estate groups, and inviting friends on your Facebook to like our business pages, and connected to any real estate groups any real estate people in LinkedIn. So that would be all of this day, Michael. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward for us to work on tomorrow. Have a great day. Have a great night.
Bye everyone.
Good night.
Hey you guys, it's Jay from Marette Consultant LLC, and this is my end of the day report for March 2nd, 2021. Today, I was able to log into my account for the CSE e-recording, and then I did a 2-hour tutorial on how to upload and edit documents. And then I had some technical difficulties with my tablet and my phone, so I had to go to AT&T and sort that out. And now I'm home working on my quit claim deeds. I have 4 properties in Alpine, New Jersey. I actually think it's 5. I need to double check my my list, because I believe it's 5 and not 4. But I have to quit claim those and start the e-recording tomorrow, which I am excited about and a little nervous, but I'm more excited than anything. And that is my day that was my day today. So remember, guys, to keep pushing positivity, and I hope everyone have a good night.
Good evening, self-made millionaires. Today is Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021. This is my daily report on bed rest. That's my icebox machine. Okay. Now, I'm thinking today I'm going to do a different type of daily report. The daily report that I'm going to do today is going to be different because I've been studying the real estate U. I've been studying for the real estate U test. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take y'all along with me. The way that I'm going to take y'all along with me is since I'm gonna be studying for my real estate U exam, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start telling y'all and expressing the things that I've learned while studying. The way that I'm gonna do that, is, as you see, my stuff is already on the screen. But I remember that my girl just got finished testing me, and when she tested me, I messed up on like 3 of them. I messed up on like 3 questions, but for the most part, I literally know the answers to Chapter 2, Law of Agency. Being that I know that, to show my progression, I'm going to go over it with y'all, so that way whoever's trying to study to take the pass the real estate exam, you can pass it too. You ready? I am! Game time. Let's play. Okay. First, I'm going to take you to Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is basically the law of the agency. Okay, now, first thing we're going to talk about is the type. First thing we're going to say is we're going to talk about is the type of agency. The type of agencies we have is the general agent. The general we have with the general agent. What the general agent's job is, he's basically the person that carries out duties and things of the principal. Basically, it's like a property manager. The next one we have is the special agent. Well, the special agent's job is to he has limited authority for the principal. Basically, he basically does but so much. His power is limited when it comes to the special agent. Next one we have is the universal agent. Now, what a universal agent is, he has just as much power as the principal. Like what we see Dawn do. You ever see Dawn when she signed her name with Mr. Alfonso? Dawn is the power of attorney. Basically means that they have just as much. The power of attorney basically has just as much power as the principal. Next, we're going to talk about is. The next question is. Give me 1 second. Is the agent client relationship. Now when it comes to that, the buyer is basically the client. That's basically the same thing, because those are the people that's paying for it. Next, we're going to talk about the broker is an agent. Now, you got to remember now what a broker is. A broker is an agent. Then also you have is the salesperson. The salesperson is a sub-agent, basically a substitute agent. That means you're just pump faking for the broker. Basically, you're carrying out the duties and you're helping a broker as a salesperson. That means as a real estate agent, you can conduct certain businesses and things like that, but only if you're working under a broker. You understand what I'm saying? So you can't do things like on your own, not without a broker. You ain't doing no deals. You ain't conducting no real contracts. You can't even take money or anything like that. But we'll get to that later on, because that's something else that I've been studying and we touched base on. Next one is the buyer and the agency. Okay, next one is the buyer agency and the basically the buyer brokerage. What that is basically saying that you're hiring a broker to represent you, or basically to do deals between the buyer and the seller. And when you hire that person for that job, or when you hire that agent, it's a representation of them. and basically you got to sign like a form and things like that in order to make that legal. Next one we're gonna go is to fiduciary duties. Now this one right here is a little different. The fiduciary duties basically means that you're taking and you're putting you're working for the principal, and when you're basically going for the principal, everything is a secret. You can't put nothing out there like that. You can't make it public, no information known. You can't let nobody else know what's going on. You can't you got to keep your financial records intact, because you got to make sure, like, when you're working for these people, you got to make sure that you doesn't let out, like, you got to make sure, like, you keep the dates, the times, and everything is like that. As far as money is concerned, you got to keep all that intact. You can't let nothing go, nothing out, nothing loose, and everything that you do is best for the client, best for the principal. You understand what I'm saying? I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay, next we have, what is it? Okay, agency disclosure form. Now, what an agency disclosure form is basically a form that basically it explains what the broker is to the principal, or to the client, or to the client, or to the buyer. That basically says that what the broker will be doing for you. You understand what I'm saying? Now, also, it is the broker's job to keep your fiduciary duties in order, things like that. Like I said, don't let your business out and things like that. And it basically advocates for the agency, or whatever the case may be. But the agency disclosure form is not required for the sale of vacant land. I'm reading right now. Now I'm not working on top of my reading. According to section 443, the New York State real estate property law licenses must present a written agency disclosure form that details the customer choices about the representation at the first submissive contract. Basically, they're saying that they need to make sure that during that first contract that y'all got a clear understanding of what the broker's job is when you're representing the principal. Now, if the seller decides to not sign that contract or not sign that paperwork, it is basically the broker's job and things like that to make sure you date it, you time it, the reasons why. You understand what I'm saying? You got to, these are the type of things that you got to knock down and disclosure on why they wanted to sell. And you have to give that in basically full details. Okay, watch this. We're going back down again to the next one. Okay, the next one is dual agency. Now, dual agency occurs when a broker represents the buyer and the seller. You understand what I'm saying? That's dual agency. And the way I remember that is dual. That means you got to go back and forth. You understand what I'm saying? Between the buyer and the seller. Dual. Between the buyer and the seller. You have to go back and forth. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the only way that you can... I was about to give too much information. Just keep that in mind, dual agency. I was about to jump ahead because I really do know what it means. Now, let me see. Okay, now the dual agency is required by consent. You understand what I'm saying? You could do a dual agency, but you gotta have consent. But you gotta have consent by the principal. Now, an undisclosed dual agency basically means if you don't tell a person that you're representing the buyer, the seller, blah, stuff like that, that means that it's undisclosed. That means that nobody knows. Now, if the two parties do not know, that is illegal in New York State. It is very illegal. You cannot do that. Now, what you can have is a dual Now you have dual agencies with designated agents. Now, dual agency with designated agents is when, let's basically say, for instance, that we have the dual that you have the broker representing both parties. Now, what you do is you want to take one agent and put it with the buyer, and when you may want to put one agent, put it with put the seller, so that way you don't get your fiduciaries, which is your confidentiality and everything else, out there, because you got two different agents representing two different people. You understand what I'm saying? You do not want to get that mixed up because it is illegal. You understand what I'm saying? I'll be right back. Know what I mean? Because we ain't playing. We are not playing, y'all. Okay, I'm back. Okay, next we have, what is it? Okay, agency disclosure form. Now, what an agency disclosure form is basically a form that basically it explains what the broker is to the principal, or to the client, or to the client, or to the buyer. That basically says what the broker will be doing for you. You understand what I'm saying? Now, also, it is the broker's job to keep your fiduciary duties in order, things like that. Like I said, don't let your business out and things like that. And it basically advocates for the agency, or whatever the case may be. But the agency disclosure form is not required for the sale of vacant land. I'm reading right now. Now I'm not working on top of my reading. According to Section 443, the New York State real estate property law licenses must present a written agency disclosure form that details the customer choices about the representation at the first submissive contract. Basically, they're saying that they need to make sure that during that first contract that y'all got a clear understanding of what the broker's job is when you're representing the principal. Now, if the seller decides to not sign that contract or not sign that paperwork, it is basically the broker's job and things like that to make sure you date it, you time it, the reasons why. You understand what I'm saying? You got to, these are the type of things that you got to knock down and disclosure on why they wanted to sell. And you have to give that in basically full details. Okay, watch this. We're going back down again to the next one. Okay, the next one is dual agency. Now, dual agency occurs when a broker represents the buyer and the seller. You understand what I'm saying? That's dual agency. And the way I remember that is dual. That means you got to go back and forth. You understand what I'm saying? Between the buyer and the seller. Dual. Between the buyer and the seller. You have to go back and forth. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the only way that you keep... I was about to give too much information. Just keep that in mind, dual agency. I was about to jump ahead because I really do know what it means. Now, let me see. Okay, now the dual agency is required by consent. You understand what I'm saying? You could do a dual agency, but you gotta have consent. But you gotta have consent by the principal. Now, an undisclosed dual agency basically means if you don't tell a person that you're representing the buyer, the seller, blah, stuff like that, that means that it's undisclosed. That means that nobody knows. Now, if the two parties do not know, that is illegal in New York State. It is very illegal. You cannot do that. Now, you have what you can have is a dual. Now you have dual agencies with designated agents. Now, dual agency with designated agents is when let's basically say, for instance, that we have the dual that you have the broker representing both parties. Now, what you do is you want to take one agent and put it with the buyer, and when you may want to put one agent, put it with put the seller, so that way you don't get your fiduciaries, which is your confidentiality and everything else, out there, because you got two different agents, you got two different agents representing two different people. You understand what I'm saying? You do not want to get that mixed up because it is illegal. You understand what I'm saying? I'll be right back. Know what I mean? Because we ain't playing. We are not playing, y'all. Here we go. Next, we have the word estoppel. Now, the word estoppel basically, now what that means is when the principal, that means is when the principal doesn't stop, when the principal doesn't stop an individual from, let me see, dang, I knew it by heart too. Okay, an agency, okay, which means estoppel is when an agency by estoppel exists when a principal, it doesn't stop an individual from representing his or her interests, thus creating an agency relationship between the two. Now, let me break that down for you. What that basically means is if somebody is representing in the best interest, if the agent is representing or broker is representing in the best interest of the principal, and the principal disagrees or whatever the case may be, or doesn't, or whatever it is, if they do not say a word, and if they do not say a word, and what happens is two different agents winds up bumping heads or not bumping heads, or your fiduciary becomes in jeopardy, or either or. You understand what I'm saying? That means the agency winds up becoming intertwined. And when that happens, that's called an estoppel. That means that the principal didn't say a word on behalf of himself or whatever the case may be, and behalf of their interests, and an agency develop a relationship between each other. Next, we're gonna talk about listing. Next, we're gonna talk about listing contracts. Okay. A listing contract is created between the seller and the broker, not the salesperson. The reason why it's not the salesperson is because the salesperson is not a broker. The salesperson is not a broker. Remember that. Salesperson is not a broker. Okay, now it says listening agreements, agency relationships, whatever. Okay, now exclusive rights to a sale agreement. The exclusive rights to a sales agreement basically says that the broker basically has the upper hand. That means the seller can find a buyer, but the broker still gets paid off of the commission. You understand what I'm saying? So basically, all that is for the broker, not the seller. It doesn't go both ways. You understand what I'm saying? If the seller does it by herself, fine, you found the buyer. The broker still gets paid. Next is the exclusive agency agreement. Now, the exclusive agency agreement basically states that if the salesperson finds a buyer, the broker does not get paid because the salesperson didn't find it. Salesperson didn't chip in on the work. The buyer didn't chip in on the work. The broker doesn't get paid. So keep that in mind. Exclusive rights means the broker gets paid even if the seller finds a buyer. Exclusive agency agreement means the broker does not get paid if the seller finds the buyer. Now we got an open listening contract. An opening listening contract basically means if if you have a bunch of brokers, whoever the case may be, whoever finds the buyer gets paid. That means whatever broker, it could be 30 different brokers. Whoever finds it first, that's the one that get paid. That's what that is, and that's what you call an open contract. Net listings. Net listings is illegal in New York. You cannot do that in New York City. Net listings is illegal. The reasons why is basically what they're doing is basically listing the agreement that you have between the buyer, the seller, the broker, and all that other stuff like that. It is illegal in New York. You cannot do that. You cannot. It's illegal. Here we go. Be back. How you doing, y'all? Back again. Here we go again. Next we have is, let me see. Okay, next thing we have is commissions. When it comes to commissions, salespeople do not get paid off the commissions. The money goes to the broker, and the broker pays the salesperson. You understand what I'm saying? They don't have the authority. They don't have the authority to get paid that way. And also, any commissions paid goes through the broker, not the sales agent. Every single time. And not only that, when it comes to commissions, all commissions can be negotiated. Every single time it can be negotiated. Every single time. Do not forget that. It can be negotiated every single time. Next is the independent, let me type down. Next is the independent contractor relationship. A salesperson must work under a sponsoring broker. Their relationship must be independent. It must be an independent contract. Basically they're trying to say that a salesperson, which is basically an agent like we are, right? Which we're studying for to be an agent. That's before you become a broker. If you turn around and you're working for hire, wherever the case, may be, you got to remember, taxes has to be paid. Since taxes have to be paid, if you're working for the broker or the broker hires you, he must file taxes for the IRS. Now, if you're not hired and you're basically, and he's an independent contractor and you're working for him, that basically means that you have to pay your own taxes. It's not his response. It's basically not his responsibility. It's not the broker's responsibility to make sure you have car fare, supplies, tools, your phone bill. It's not their job because you don't really work for them. You know what I mean? They don't give you a time to come in to work. All this sounding familiar? Dr. Michael, it sounded familiar. They don't give you a time to come in to work. They don't tell you you have to do this, You work on your own time. You work on your own schedule. You do it, you don't. Whatever the case may be, you don't do it, you don't get paid. You do that. That's how that works. I mean, that's basically a long story short. And of course, the salesperson cannot file a scheduled receipt for income tax form and deduct expenses during the year. Salesperson should keep track of their own expenses and also file their own federal taxes. The sponsoring broker must prepare and file forms for any salesperson who earned more than $600. And basically, if you work for that man as an employee and you earn more than $600, it must be reported. In other words, this is the reason why if you make big hundreds of thousands of dollars, you cannot do it through Cash App and all this other kind of stuff. You got to do it through your business because taxes got to be reported. Because if those things, and when you report those taxes, you report it as an independent, as the seller, as independent or as an employee. If you're an employee, again, taxes have to be filed through the broker. Now, and if you're just an independent contractor, that means we got to file our own taxes. Obviously, that lets you know what we are. Okay, now we got vicarious liability. Vicarious liability is a situation where the party gets held responsible for the unlawful actions of a third party. That means that if you're going around trying to do some little sneaky stuff and break the law, whatever the case may be, and the broker knows, he gets in trouble for that. It ain't no way around it. You ain't faking it. That means if your broker knows what you're doing, whatever the case may be, and he allows it, it's a misdemeanor. Don't do it. You won't get in trouble. Any knowledge of it, you know what I mean? Somebody basically somebody's gonna get in trouble. It's a misdemeanor, and as you know, what a misdemeanor is, a minor. You're basically breaking the law in a minor way. It's a misdemeanor. Don't do it. Don't break the law. Okay, the next one we have is the Sherman Antitrust Act. Okay, the Sherman Antitrust Act is illegal because, one, you got price fixing. That means you cannot fix prices on the property. You can't like go around tricking people, telling them it's worth one thing when it's really worth another. That's called price fixing. Can't do it. It's illegal. The next one is the group boycotts. You can't be boycotting people from buying property or boycotting people to sell property or do any of that. It's illegal. Next is the marketing allocation. Marketing allocation is, that means you can't get together with another broker and stuff like that and be trying to fix it so that way y'all don't have to compete against the property. It's illegal. You know what I mean? You can't do it. It's illegal. You know what I mean? Next one is your tax. Is your tie-in arrangements. Now, what a tie-in arrangements is basically is saying that you can't turn around and be tying people to a contract that they don't even want to be in. You understand what I'm saying? Or you can't take and have to buy one property and then tell them, oh, you have to buy, you can't talk like about what property, yeah, you have to take the insurance with this property and stuff like that. You cannot do that. You cannot force people to take stuff with the property that they don't even want. That's called tie-in arrangements. It's not happening. Next thing we have is misrepresentation. Misrepresentation means basically you selling somebody something on false pretenses. Basically, remember that time when we turned around and we had that apartment. I think it was one something in Edgecombe between 130th and 139th, and we jumped up and the building was looking all nice when really the building was vacant. That's misrepresentation. That is not what the building was. That's not even what the building looks like. This misrepresentation. It's not even close to what it is. You cannot sell people property under false pretenses and they claim that it's okay. It's against the law. It's illegal. Where we at? None of that stuff is okay. Where we at? The next one is the last one. Now I'm gonna read the last one too because I don't know this one by heart. Y'all ready? Property condition disclosure statements. The Property Condition Disclosure Act requires that the seller to submit to the buyer a property condition disclosure statement. Oh, y'all do know this. Prior to signing the contract of sale. If the statement is not signed, the buyer shall receive $500 credit against the purchase of the properties. Most seller attorneys advise their clients not to sign the statement as it opens them up to a vast amount of liabilities. This is the end of my daily report, people. From now on, I'm studying my real estate for exam. Damn near everything you see me read, except like the last one or so, I know it all by heart now. I learned that today. From now on, if I say that, not me, not you, but me, if I say that I'm working on property or working on this or I'm working on my real estate U exam, I need to show proof that that's exactly what I'm doing. From now on, me, Charles McCune, I'm no longer going to say I was working on my real estate U or I was working on this or working on that. But yet, I can't explain what those property is. Right now, you can ask me about anything as far as what I've just read, and I can answer those type of questions. Tomorrow, I will be working on the same thing again, and I will do the same thing over and over and over again until I pass this test. And I honestly believe that I can finish it by doing exactly what I did today, studying a chapter a day. Have a nice night, people.